guys, welcome to this week's Downton Abbey, the Downton Abbey chat show. Can you believe it's already the finale of season 5? Don't go away. Okay, so at the beginning of this episode, everyone was getting ready for Rose and Atticus's wedding. Buzz, buzz, buzz. So a couple things about this wedding. It will be in London, so everyone's gonna have to get their butts over to there. And it sounds like Atticus's father and Rose's mother are both gonna be very difficult. Surprise, surprise. So some other quick stuff from the beginning of this. Edith is just having a ball with baby Marigold living in the house now. Tom's cousin has formally invited him to be a partner in his American business. And Carson lets everyone know that the unveiling of the war memorial is coming up and it's going to be right after the wedding. So that's another thing for them to look forward to. Alright, so Prince Carogan, his wife is still missing. They don't know where she is, and he shows up at the Dowager Countess's house unannounced. She is still in bed. So she's like, ugh. Don't worry, he's gonna wait until she's ready. How long did he wait for her in that drawing room? I mean, really. But he really wanted to talk to her because he was basically like, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. So it was wild. She was like, what about the princess? What if she's still alive? And he's like, I don't care. I only want to be with you. Not really, but he did say he wants to be with her. So she doesn't give him an answer yet. She needs to think about it, but, you know, who knows? So some bad news, the inspector from Scotland Yard is back at Downton to talk to Anna and Bates. So first, good news, Mr. Bates is in the clear. The witness said that the suspect was shorter than Bates, so he's all good. Not so good, the police found out that other women have come forward saying that Mr. Green attacked them. So they're trying to figure out if this happened to Anna, if she has some sort of motive. She keeps quiet about it. She doesn't say what happened. We'll come back to that. So everyone is getting ready to leave for London, including a lot of the downstairs crew. You know who's not going to London? The grandkids, because they don't get to do anything. They just stay with the nannies all day. So they're all going to Grantham House in London, and Carson is even hiring a new footman for the week because they need an extra hand or two. So it's just for the week for now. And we'll get back to him. But anyway, Sprat, the Dowager Countess's butler, tried to pull a fast one on Danker, the new lady's maid. And he tried to hide that one suitcase, but the plan backfired because the Dowager freaking knows her luggage. She was like, is there a case missing here? And Sprat was called out, so definitely backfired. But anyway, everyone's in London, and that includes Rose's parents who arrive, and of course, freaking Susan, the mother, is like, I don't want to stay with him, what the bleh. So she's causing issues already, and it's time for Rose's parents to meet Atticus and his parents. I find that so weird that they're meeting her fiance like the week of the wedding, but I guess that's how it was back then sometimes. So anyway, as predicted, Lord Cinderby and Lady Flincher are making things crazy awkward. There's lots of talk about religion because the Aldridges are Jewish, and that was kind of like back then. Lord Cinderby is very outspoken about how he doesn't like divorce, which Susan and Shrimpy are currently going through, but they don't know that yet. It's just not a good situation. Also not a good situation, Anna has to report to Scotland Yard the next day. So Bates goes with her, and it's a freaking police lineup. So we don't find out if Anna is chosen by the witness or not, but it was really scary. So it's pretty clear that the police are now thinking that a woman is responsible for Mr. Green's death. But again, we'll come back to that. First, Atticus is having a good old stag party, which is British for a bachelor party. So even when he's drunk, freaking Atticus is a gentleman. Love this guy. Some lady is like hitting on him. He's like, oh no, no. But this lady follows him up to his room. WTF, she busts in there, messes up her dress, and then as she's walking out of the room, she fixes it like something bad happened in there, but it didn't. That's gonna come back to bite him. Okay, so Rose had a little going away from singleton party of her own. She had a special lunch with Mary, Tom, and even Edith. Not just Edith, but even Edith. I thought that was hilarious. So, yeah, the whole thing from Atticus's stag party comes up at this lunch because Rose gets these photos sent to her of Atticus with this mystery woman, and they are not good. They're very scandalous. So Rose is freaking out, but leave it to Tom to pull things together. He is the hero. He tells Rose, you need to phone Atticus right now, set up a meeting, and straighten this out. It could be some sort of practical joke, which is not funny. It could be maybe Lord Cinderby doing this to try to stop the wedding, because it's pretty clear that he doesn't want this wedding to happen. So Rose does get in touch with Atticus, and they agree to meet later in the day. Alright, I have a question for you guys. What the actual F is going on with Danker and Andy, the new footman? Thomas needs to find out pronto and tell us. Is it a Mrs. Robinson situation? Like, what is going on? I think she's definitely a bad influence on him, and it appears that Andy is not enjoying himself when he has to go out with Danker. So Daisy, Mosley, and Baxter are having some good clean fun in London. They're visiting museums and stuff, looking at artwork, and they're having a great time. And Baxter kind of hints that she might want a ring on that finger from one Mr. Mosley. Ah! Okay, that was great and all, but then that group sees Rose and Atticus fighting in St. James Park. Awkward, but hello, Buckingham Palace in the background. Okay, so Atticus is now made aware of the situation with the stag party photos, so he asks his father if he pulled the prank. And Lord Cinderby's like, no, but I'm gonna be real with you, I am against this marriage because Rose isn't Jewish, and that means technically your children will not be Jewish. And Atticus is just like, I don't care, you need to get over it. Ugh. But again, Lord Cinderby says, no, I did not do this. So everyone's just like, who did this? Who could have done this? It's not cool. We're gonna come back to it. Daisy is all like in a cloud after the trips to the museum because she is loving life in London, and she wants to be able to be close to all this culture and this artwork and everything so she can really study things up close and not just from books. So she is like, you know what, I'm deciding right now I want to hand in my notice. I want to work in London. I'm going to find a job here. And Mrs. Patmore is about to cry. Daisy is like her daughter. She's taught her so much, not just about cooking, but about life, and now Daisy's like, F it, I'm out of here. Oh, so Daisy does find Mrs. Patmore crying later. It's super sad, and it's just sad. So let's talk about Shrimpy and Susan. Shrimpy was a total badass in this episode. He confronts his soon-to-be ex-wife about the stag party photo scandal. He knows that she's responsible. He put the pieces together, and you know what? He was right. Susan still sucks. So she's like, yeah, it was me. Ugh. So he tells her, you need to cut out the creepy shenanigans, or I'm gonna tell Rose what you did, and she's never gonna forgive you. Also, keep your mouth shut about that divorce, because again, Atticus's parents don't know about it. They want to keep it under wraps until after the wedding. We'll see. So Robert announces that, this is kind of off topic, but it was an important thing. He announces that to pay for the renovations in the village, he'll be selling that painting that Simon Bricker was so interested in. Remember, he kept coming back to the house over and over again to look at it? Yeah, well, Robert's getting rid of it. I just thought that was funny, but his explanation for why he was getting rid of it was really cute too. He told Cora that every time he looks at it, it reminds him of how he needs to, like, pay more attention to Cora or whatever. I don't know. I'm improvising here. But anyway, Danker and the footman, no, Andy, the new footman, come back after a night out that same night. They missed their curfew, and Danker is not only drunk as a skunk, but she is drunk as a skunk that was like drowned in booze. I mean, she was like singing and she's like, blah, blah, blah. So she's a total mess. And we find out that she took poor Andy gambling. He lost all of his savings while she was sitting around getting free drinks all night. So Thomas is disgusted by this because he's the only one that can be mean to people. So he demands to go with them next time. We'll come back to that. Because it's Rose's wedding. And it's super exciting. Wedding time! So the guests are all arriving. This first part of the wedding is not in the church. It's at the registry office. This is like the official wedding. So they were all like, oh, this isn't really what Rose probably wanted, but oh well. So it was still very nice, except before, when the guests were arriving, Susan had to say very loudly to Atticus's parents, oh, I thought you should know, Shrimpy and I are in the process of getting a divorce. And Lord Cinderby was disgusted when he found this out. He was just like, what? But then Lady Cinderby laid down the law. She was just like, if you do anything to try to stop this wedding, I will leave you. And that's gonna be a real scandal. Woo! You tell him! It was awesome. She is so awesome. So they have the wedding. We don't actually get to see the ceremony, but I'm sure it was lovely. So after that, later in the day, they have the blessing, which is in the church. Rose looked gorgeous. I want that gown. I'm not even kidding. I would get married in that gown in a heartbeat. The makeup and everything was gorgeous. So good job to the costumers. Okay, so at the blessing, Tony Gillingham arrives with Maybelline Fox. Guess what? They're engaged again. They're getting married in December. Mary seems a little bummed, but I don't think it's totally because of them. There's a lot going on with the family, a lot of people moving away and people growing up, and it's just sad. So Carson notices that Mary's a little down, and these two seriously are so cute. He's like another father figure for her. So he tells her, I hope you're not upset because of Lord Gillingham. And he tells her Gillingham wasn't up to the mark. So he gives her words of support, words of encouragement, and it's really sweet. Not so sweet. After the wedding, Scotland Yard Inspector shows up again. This time, he's here to arrest Anna. Mary has not dismissed her yet. You cannot take her away. All jokes aside, everyone was freaking out about this. It was so messed up. The police take Anna away in cuffs, and everyone's just like, what is going on? So that was pretty much it for that storyline. We didn't get much more from that. But Thomas goes to the basement club with Andy and Danker, like Dirty Violin or something. I don't know. I don't remember what it's called. I want to go with Dirty Violin. I just like that name. It was something violin. So, long story short, Thomas wins back all of Andy's money. He messes things up for Danker by telling the guy about her scheme. And she has to pay for her 3 nights of heavy drinking. A whole 4 pounds! They may not sound like a lot by today's standards, but back then, that was a lot of money, so sucks to suck. Anyway, back at Downton, they have the unveiling of the War Memorial. It's a great ceremony, but even better, Lord Grantham has a surprise for Mrs. Patmore and everyone. He had a special plaque made for her nephew Archie, so that was so sweet. Oh, that was very nice. And Mrs. Patmore was in a good mood again, so she worked her magic on Daisy. You gotta pull in Mr. Mason if you want things to get done. So she's like, oh, Mr. Mason, did you hear about Daisy's plans to move to London? And he's just like, what? You're leaving? No. So then, of course, Daisy's like, oh, well, I'm not really set on going right away. Maybe in the future. So, whew, for Mrs. Patmore, Daisy is sticking around for a little while. Also, right at the end of the episode, they're all walking back up to the house. Lord Grantham is walking with Cora, and he friggin' guesses, duh, Marigold is Edith and Michael's biological daughter. He knows, but he promises Cora he's gonna keep it a secret, so we'll see if that actually happens. But I loved his reaction to it. He didn't seem like upset about it at all. He seemed very excited to have another granddaughter, so it was very cute. But that was it! And now we have to wait until Christmas for a ton of other storylines to wrap up. Or not wrap up, because there's gonna be another season. Woo! I'm excited about that, but I want some freaking answers. So first of all, what's the deal with Anna? I'm not 100% convinced that she's innocent. She kind of looked a little guilty. Maybe she is. I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. Also, Isabel and Dickie. Are they going to get past the whole Dickie's sons being jerks? I don't know. What's going to happen with the Dowager and Prince Karagan? Are they going to get together? Is Tom really going to leave? I don't know if I can take that. So many other stories. There's a lot. So leave it in the comments what you thought. Not only of this episode, but of this season as a whole. I really enjoyed this season. I know a lot of people online were saying, like, oh, I don't like these storylines. The writing is not up to snuff, but I, like, really enjoyed this season. I thought it was great. So let me know what you guys thought, and I'll see you after Christmas. So until then, much love.